As a pilot for Egypt Air in 1999, a man named Jamel El Batoui set the world record for deadliest non-terrorist suicide. Jamil was a man who couldn't control his sexual appetite and had been accused multiple times of sexually harassing female employees and stalking random women. Eventually, the airline was fed up with his inappropriate conduct and made the move to fire him. Unfortunately, they gave him this bad news while he was still in charge of a plane. Jamil didn't take the news lightly and reacted by purposely putting the plane into a nosedive and cutting the fuel. The plane spiraled downwards for minutes before eventually crashing into the ocean, causing all 217 passengers on board to die. Middle-aged and unemployed South Korean citizen Kim Dae-han was fed up, and in 2003 he decided to buy $6 worth of gasoline and boarded a subway train. As his train pulled into the station, Han lit a gasoline-filled milk carton and tossed it at the fellow passengers on board before running away. The results were almost immediate, and it wasn't too long before the whole train bursted into flames due to the padded seats being lit on fire. Over the next half hour, 125 people had died, and by the time Han was convicted, the total had risen to 198, setting the world record for the deadliest arsonist attack. At the age of 11, Edgar Lugo was one of the youngest contract killers ever known, and set the world record for the youngest to ever be convicted. In 2009, he was arrested for decapitating 4 men in the Mexican state of Morelos and hanging their bodies from a bridge. During the trial, it was revealed that Lugo was under contract with a notorious gang to carry out hits for $200 a month. At the time of his arrest, his cell phone carried photographs of his presumed victims suffering extreme torture. He claims he was threatened with death by the gang if he didn't carry out these acts, and he ended up only serving 3 years in prison. Before 1994, a man named Jean Paul was the mayor of a town called Taba in Rwanda. But Rwanda in the mid-90s was no ordinary place. Ethnic tensions that had been simmering over for years were on the verge of boiling over into violence, and when they did, this tiny town would become ground zero for some of the worst atrocities in human history. The first 2 weeks of the Rwandan genocide, Jean played the hero, declaring his town a safe zone and keeping the violence at minimum. Sadly for those who believed him, the act didn't last. On April 18, 1994, he ordered local militiamen to go from house to house, torturing and murdering children and raping women. In the aftermath of the massacre, he was indicted by the International Criminal Court, and on September 5, 1998, he became the first person in history to be convicted of genocide. Former member of the Black Panthers named Albert Woodfox was thrown into solitary confinement for 23 hours a day in his Louisiana prison after a guard was murdered, despite there being zero evidence linking him to the killing of the guard. According to Woodfox, he and 3 others were blamed for the murder after trying to set up a Black Panthers prison chapter and trying to strike for better conditions. Albert Woodfox's 44 years is the longest time a person has ever spent in solitary confinement in the United States.